All right, all right, all right. Good morning or good afternoon, depending on, well, it's all afternoon now at this point. Unless you're in California or Arizona, then it's probably still morning. So, whatever time zone you're in, right, CDN, whatever time zone you're in, good day, good day, good day. So, anyways, I had to make my second pot of coffee, and if you guys haven't noticed, let me do this here without spilling my coffee. We are going old school with the background. My screen thing that I had behind me, it's busted, so I got to figure out how to fix it. If not, replace it. So you're gonna deal with the blurry background because the privacy of my family is important. So we got our Death Wish coffee mug, and of course it's filled with great, delicious Snorelord coffee. There we go. So, looking at freight. So I didn't go live this morning because I had 2 trucks that I had to take care of right off the bat. Last week was probably the best week I've done in a very, very, very long time. Both money-wise and the amount of trucks wise. I've got 2 or 3 full-time, and then I've got several part-time, and I've got several that call me at the last minute, hey, this sucks, can you help me out? And I help them out. And what I have found is that well, I mean, look, it's July, so there's a lot of freight. It's kind of weird. So Jeff mentioned this morning, he went live this morning, and he had mentioned that that he's had a lot of phone calls from brokers. Now, I see these emails from brokers needing trucks, needing quotes on contract freight they're trying to do. They're making it seem like there's a lot of freight out there, but I think what's happening is the freight that's out there, they don't want it on the low board. I've mentioned this before, and they want to cover these. They want to quota their customers, and they're getting ready for, things are being prepared for the fall rush. And yes, even though we're at the end of July, if you go to Walmart, back to school is in session, and the fall clothing wear, and you're starting to see some hints of Halloween and Christmas stuff popping up. And it seems like the Christmas season happens earlier every year. And so there's a lot of freight that's, here's what I'm seeing is that I'm seeing for the last today, Friday and Thursday, what I'm seeing is a lot of last minute postings of stuff that needs to be put on a team, or it's 690 miles before deadhead and it has to deliver tomorrow morning and it picks up at 11 a.m. today, that kind of stuff. I'm seeing a lot of that. And that tells me that they're having trouble moving this freight. I could be wrong. CDN, you can correct me if you want. That means they're having trouble moving this freight, either at the rate that they're trying to move it for, or they're having trouble finding a good truck. And the whole Go Highway system is throwing a lot of carriers into chaos. And, of course, the scamming and the scamming and double brokering secretly is at full tilt. So last night, my wife and I went to the fair, Ozark Empire Fair. And we had a good time. Saw Skillet. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that band. They put on a good show. That was the second time we'd seen them. They played for like an hour and a half. I mean, they played for a long time. No opening band, so that was cool. Let's see. You would think with my death metal stuff that I would not be a fan of Skillet, but they're not my first choice on Spotify, but they put on a great show, so it was fun to watch. But yeah, so I mean, look, it's the end. It's the beginning of third quarter, and we're gonna it's gonna get interesting. So in some ways, I'm getting a lot of phone calls. I'm seeing a lot of emails of stuff needing to be covered, and then what's happening also is that some areas have died completely, and no one wants to go into those areas. So they're having trouble finding trucks to go into these difficult areas. And the southeast is it's gone way down. And of course, people are like, well, Steve, you shouldn't have told people to go to the southeast. Like my little channel of 5,000 people and only like 1% watch does not affect the rates. Everybody else who's got a computer, who's got a low board, can see what was going on. So yes, it was profitable to go down to the southeast. Now, with that being said, I'm having trucks being profitable by sending them to the southeast and bringing them back up to the Midwest. That strategy is still working. It's just working differently. Because when things are so good coming out, they don't want to pay going in. And vice versa. So at the end of the day, it balances out. So at the end of the day, it's about consistency. It's about calling the brokers that have the freight. And the ones that call you, see if you can, see if you can do something with it. So, but anyways, we'll get to the comments and then we'll take a look at a couple of low board things. I've already got 1, 2, 3 and DAT propped up. I got a text from somebody I think on Thursday or Friday that, DAT went down for a minute. So, you got to have more than one tool. So, let's see. And you'll have to forgive me because the odds of me getting interrupted are a lot higher right now than they are at 7 a.m. So, or so it seems. It seems like this time of day is more dead than 7 a.m. because I've already done what I need to do and whatever. So, Sterling Wheel, greetings. Flatbed Trucker, what's up? Kelly Patterson, good morning. Gen Z, hello all. Lance Calhoun, popcorn time. No, popcorn is not good for you. It's diverticulitis is what that is. Sterling Wheel from Woodland, California. Vacation time is winding down. I'll take my answer off the air. Right on. Buck Brown, yo. Cheap Freight Hauler, good afternoon, everyone. Listening, Gary Cook is listening from the home of Montgomery, Illinois. Red Lady, what's up? Hope you're having a good time there out in Cali. CDN, what time zone am I in? Good day, Steve. I believe you're in Mountain, aren't you? Myrtle Point, Oregon here. Kelly, what's up? Chiming in from the road in northern Illinois. It's a good spot to be in for Van. I know you're not Van, but Rookie Trucker, good morning. Thank you for your membership. Thank you for all the members that are in here. Stay away from Georgia Van. We're starving around here. Shadow Wolf, what's up? Just checking in. Shout out to y'all. Gary says kids are going back to school. Yes, they are. Buck Brown says Skillet plays annually at a local theme park near my home. So you must live in Tennessee, right? SST, what's up? Steve, have you thought about creating music, either writing or exploring new style of music? I believe you're super creative and the world could enjoy your current version of yourself. Yes, music. Music will... There's a couple of things that need to happen for me to be inspired musically. And I've got way too much on my plate to really concentrate on it. So it's kind of on the back burner. I have bought a new recording device that I have to learn how to use. I've bought some equipment for the recording device. As far as a different style of music, it will be the next thing I do will not be death metal, that's for sure. But I still listen to death metal, but number one, I can't do the vocals like that anymore. Number two, I'm in a different place mentally, so I'm not as angry, I guess. I still have some anger in there, but it's, I want to do something more uplifting. So yes, that is in the works. I just haven't had a chance to really focus on it. I've got several books I'm working on and inspiration. I've got some equipment changes I need to do with the equipment anyways. So we'll see. SST, will rates rise again with the next lockdown? Look, let's talk about social media for a minute. Obviously, 2 weeks ago, the hot topic was the attempt, and I knew, and I did a video on the OG channel talking about it, that it was going to create this whirlwind of internet madness, and it's done exactly what I knew it would do. And of course, the second event with the presidential race changing, that has also created another whirlwind of internet chaos. And then, of course, the Olympics has caused another bit of internet chaos. Here's the pattern, right? Doesn't matter what you do. You could be some person rescuing a litter of puppies from drowning in a river from certain death, put that on YouTube, and someone's going to complain about that, right? Especially if you put a religious or political theme behind it. And the division is crazy. You see it on social media. And all it's doing, it's stressing the good people out to where they're not on social media. And next thing you don't know what the real news is. You don't know what's really happening. You don't know what's going on. Meanwhile, you can just look out your front door and see what's going on. And we're arguing about stupid things, right? So the internet, of course, people are talking about another pandemic, and you got people talking about this, and look, there's only one thing that's certain, and I'll tell you this right now, and I'm not a prophet, but I'll pretend to be one for a minute. Between now and January, not November, but January, is going to be incredibly interesting, and you better be aware of everything. Not to the point that it freezes you from doing your day-to-day stuff and it creates anxiety, and that cortisol level is keeping you from losing weight and eating right. I'm just saying that things are going to get crazy from now, up in, from 2 weeks ago to January. There's potential for some chaos. Just be aware. Don't get involved in pathetic little arguments that keep you from seeing the aerial view of the fact that they want us to argue. Now, when it comes to the freight, keep an eye on that. You have several companies. Let me bring up the emails here. Let's do a little bit of news report stuff, shall we? Know your numbers, know your costs. Adapt and adjust accordingly. So, Gary Cook says, I'm a country music fan. I love it. It is my favorite. Kenny Rogers, Dolly Parton, and so on. You're a classic country music fan. One idea is to fill in with your chur. One idea is to offer fill in with a band at church if someone is away. I've already been offered that. I do not have the skill set to do that with the music that they require. So I don't listen to worship music that's secular, not secular, contemporary. And I don't know the hymns. I don't know any of that stuff. And I'm a one-trick pony when it comes to guitar. If it ain't heavy, I don't play it. So, is Bind alive? Has he really been alive? He's no more alive or dead than he has been. Buck Brown, speaking of music, since my reunion with the old man a couple weeks ago in Guam, I'm now co-writing some songs with a couple of guys. Nice. Currently trying to figure out how to connect a mic to a GoPro. Not that smart when it comes to electronics. It depends on the GoPro. If you have the simple $150 Hero Sessions from back in the day, it won't take an external mic. A current one, you should be able to hook into the USB-C thing, and that should do it. Plenty of YouTube videos on how to do that. The only problem is checking the audio. That's where I ran into. I do have one GoPro that can take an external mic, but it was very sensitive, and a lot of times it would go out. I've done whole videos with no audio in it, and it, for the most part, it burned me out. Like it like, you know what, I'm not doing this anymore. I was very frustrated. Sometimes you just need to create songs that nobody will hear, as first attempts may not work, but can help you get in the flow. In time, you can share. For now, just create and store, no pressure for perfection. I have done that. I have recorded a couple of things experimenting with the new recorder that I have. You know, and my live feeds are just basically me just rambling musically. So let me rephrase that. The live feeds where I do play the guitar, not these live feeds. Russell Freight, what's up? The objective is to keep everyone angry with each other, and their eyes are focused on insignificant things. Absolutely. Does my market report I emailed this morning have anything worth mentioning? It probably does. I like both kinds of music, country and western. Blues Brothers, that's a great show. All right, so let me mention a couple of things first, and then we'll get to your email. How about that? So let's present the screen here, so you don't have to be distracted with my blurriness behind me. More layoffs at freight-related firms. 607 workers cut across 4 states. This is from FreightWaves.com. Make sure you check them out. Layoff notice. Layoffs continue across commercial transportation and freight industry, according to a new round of worker reduction notices in Florida, Texas, Illinois, and Wisconsin. It is the second round of layoffs since the beginning of July. Averett Express, Bath and Body Works, Logistics Services, Ship Bob, and Henry Avocado Corp. announced a total of 218 layoffs earlier in the month. Menzies Aviation announced July 17th it will eliminate 409 positions from its facility in Miami International Airport. The layoffs are tied to losing a cargo handling services contract with Avianca, I don't know how to say that, Airlines. That's why I'm not like Walter Cronkite or nothing. I can't even say that. All positions allocated to the airline's account will be terminated effective September 16th. The reductions are expected to be permanent. DHL, freight giant DHL, will permanently close a facility in Carrollton, Texas, laying off 104 workers by September 14th. Layoffs include 76 warehouse and 3 transportation workers, as well as forklift operators, staff, and supervisors. DHL supply chain was recently informed of a customer decision to transition their business to a new provider. As such, associates at our Carrollton facility will be impacted and were informed of the decision July 12th. RXO Last Mile, transportation solutions provider RXO Last Mile recently announced it is laying off 53 employees from 2 facilities in Houston. The company said it's conducting layoffs impacting its workforce, supporting a customer at the following locations: McLean Boulevard and Greens Parkway, according to a notice sent to state officials. That's going to be finalized September 16th. RXO will provide severance benefits and outplacement assistance to affected employees. So that's good. They're taking care of their employees. Cygnus Home Service, which does business as Yellow and formerly operated as Schwann's Home Delivery. So there's your Schwann's. Recently filed notices in Illinois and Wisconsin that's laying off a total of 29 employees. And those employers coming from Illinois and Wisconsin, they announced that in October it'd be closing 90 delivery centers across 18 states, impacting about 750 employees on the sales, speed, and corporate teams. field and corporate teams. Facing economic headwinds, rising business costs, and the post-pandemic world, our teams across the country have worked valiantly to transform our company into a modern category leader, the company said in a letter posted on its website. They have about 4,000 employees and 300 centers nationwide. Pitney Bowes said they're laying off 14 people in Texas. They're tying it to corporate restructuring. The company is a global shipping and mailing firm that provides technology, logistics, and financial services. Let's see who else. That's it. Now there was another one. So let's remove this for a second. Where's the other one? I sent myself 2 links. 2 links. All right. Illinois Trucking, this is also from Front Waves. Illinois Trucking Company brokerage filed for bankruptcy liquidation. Blue Thunder Trucking, founded in 1988, had 75 drivers before ceasing operations and filing for Chapter 7. 36-year-old Illinois Trucking Company and brokerage ceased operations recently and filed for Chapter 7 bankruptcy liquidation. BT Trucking out of Broadview, Illinois, doing business as Blue Thunder Trucking and its 3 affiliated companies, BT Transportation Group, JPL Transport Company Incorporated, and Risoti Incorporated, filed for Chapter 7. At the time, they had 75 drivers and same number of power units, according to FMCSA. Petitions for 4 entities list Michael J. Irwin as president and founder. They took down the website. I'm not going to read all this to you. All right, now check this out. This is proof that they were not doing well and they weren't maintaining their trucks. Prior to its closure, the company's trucks have been inspected 65 times, and 28 have been placed out of service for a 43% out-of-service rate over the preceding 24-month period. That is nearly double of the industry national average of around 22, according to FMCSA. The company drivers had been inspected 138 times, and 11 were placed out of service over a 2-year period, resulting in an 8% out-of-service rate. This is slightly higher than the national average of 6.7. And over the past 2 years, they've been involved in 6 injury crashes and 5 towaways. Their insurance was canceled July 1st, and its common and contract authority was involuntarily revoked on July 8th. So that's what happened to them. Now, let's go to CDN's email. Let's catch up on the comments here real quick. We never hear in the media about a surplus of drivers, no. But much about driver shortage, absolutely. I parked my truck at the old Caterpillar plant in Aurora. At the parking lot there is a company that bought a bunch of yellow and Holland trailers. Yeah, I mean, someone's going to buy them, right? Scott Roloff says, afternoon, y'all. Getting last stop in Chicago. Reload in Beaver Dam, going to Chillicothe, Missouri. I've picked up a few times. There's a plant there that supplies the plastic little bowls for your microwave macaroni and cheese. CC Box going to be like this until November. People are sitting on their wallets until they figure out which direction the country will be heading. So it's funny you mentioned that. So last night at the fair, we talked to this. They build modular mobile homes. We talked to this company that had a display out there, and it was exactly what we were kind of looking for. And we talked to the sales guy, and we talked about their prices, and we talked about inflation. And I said, you know, and my wife asked, do you have any predictions? Or you wait until November? And they said that in November they will know, because what happens in November will determine what the interest rates are going to do, and that's what's affecting them the most is interest rates. So, I don't care what side of the fence you're on. I don't care, what your philosophy is on economy. I know that there's going to be a lot to deal with and centralized around the interest rates, and that will be that's going to be what determines a lot of things. That's what's going to determine growth. That's what's going to determine, people not being laid off, like I was pointing out. So, with doom and gloom in the news, maybe trailer prices will keep coming down. They are coming down, cheap freight hauler. They are. That's because none of the kids that now own the company want to work there, and they want to go to university and get a good paying job. Says Marty. Remember I screw up in the days that end in Y. This game of Monopoly sucks. Do not pass go. With both feet, what's up? How you doing? Always seems the old man that starts a company does great, but when the kids take over, the company goes down. Well, I mean, I see that time and time again in the trucking industry, right? Because they're not the ones that had to, look what happened to Arrow years ago. They're not the ones that had to run the freight and build a company. And so, of course, they're not coming from the same place. Even if you train your kids to live, love, and be dedicated to the carrier, they don't have the same lessons that the people that start the company did. It's okay. The economy will pick up after we go to war. Biden will get us into a shooting war with Russia before Inauguration Day. That way, even if Trump is elected, he'll have to keep fighting. Says TC. U.S. Express in the early 90s was awesome, and after the Sun took over, what the hell? Right. Or when they go public like Schneider or Landstar. So Gary says when Schneider started Schneider, do you think he went through what we're going through today? No, his obstacles were different, for sure. I mean, the obstacles are different now. Trucking is, like any industry. I don't care what business you're trying to start. It's not just about the physical hard work. It's about relationships. It's about conversations. It's about what advantages can I get over the other person. Look what COVID did. I've always brought up the point that, during the shutdowns, you can buy, sports memorabilia at Walmart, but you couldn't buy it at Academy. And that's an unfair advantage. And that's and now the unfair advantage is volume, right? So if I want to open up my record store, which I would love to do, I'm going to pay more for the records that are new releases than as a wholesaler than I would that I can just buy them straight from Walmart's website as a consumer. So small businesses are all struggling. And then, add the interest rates and all that. Look, it's about finding the advantages and taking advantage of the disadvantages others have. That's how business is done. If you're sitting at a truck stop because you can't move for less than $2 a mile, or at least that's what's in your head, well, the guy that can run for $1.60 and still profit is going to take that load from you. And that's by design because, we all want our costs down. In fact, I'm expecting something in the mail today. So, when you order Amazon, what do? You look for the lowest shipping. If it isn't free, you'll wait a couple of days if it's free, right? To save yourself 10, 15, 20 bucks. And so that's what we're looking at with our freight market is that they're not in a hurry for any of this stuff. And so people like me have to comb the load boards and look for that one load that is urgent. And that's getting harder and harder to do. Because now I'm looking at 15 different resources versus just one, which, or two. It's kind of nice to have all them resources. But at the end of At the end of the day, my call logs, I have to keep a notebook, keep track of who I've called and who I haven't called. You know, the load boards, both 123 load board and DAT, have things where you can save the load if you call on it, save the load if you book it, you know, that kind of thing. And that's become an important tool, because at the end of the day, sometimes you've made 20 phone calls and you're calling, oh, that was why I turned this load down. Oh, that was why this load was bad, because of the times, but you forget. So, excuse me. When America realizes Russia is the world's largest Christian country, TC Box says Al didn't have to compete internationally for a local job. Yes, that is part of it. President or no president, there's going to be a lot of inflation in the next 10 years. You know, that goes without saying. Are we the baddies? I miss the old days when every load was urgent, right? And that's when we were making money hand over fist. But the customer said, you know what? Enough's enough. We got to keep from that happening again. Would you rather have, for truckers, a minimum rate per mile for trucker transparency? That is an old argument, Marty. Minimum rate. What's minimum wage doing for everybody, huh? It's the same thing. You up the minimum wage, and guess what? Restaurants go out of business. Restaurants that stay in business have to charge triple, or you're being replaced with a computer. So, a minimum rate per mile. You the driver, you the owner operator, have to create that minimum rate per mile. And it's easy. Oh, you want 80 cents a mile to move this load? Yeah, I ain't doing that. And then you move on. You find something that's better. Yeah, I agree with that, Scott. McDonald's meal for two costs $30. Yep. Truckers just need to be covered under the same labor laws as literally every other profession. It's fair. No more free time. Every minute paid. That would change some of the things. You know, that was why the Teamsters back in the day came up with hours of service. Was to keep these shippers and receivers from wasting your time. And then as a broker, if you're charging detention time with these shippers and receivers, well, they're just going to go with a broker that is willing to overlook that. You know, a lot of them will. Look, that's the one thing I missed the least, was the colossal lack of respect for my time as a driver. And that labor law thing could work for company drivers, but what does that do for contractors? I don't know if it does anything. When I got my very first job as a teenager, minimum wage was $3.33 per hour back in 1988. My first job was in, I want to say, 1989, I think. I was working at Piccadilly Cafeteria. I forget what I was making. I don't think it was $3 though. So, all right, let's take a look at CDN's thing that he sent me. Every Tuesday, CDN sends me this freight report that he gets. And let's take a look at it, shall we? Cash is king. Hey now. DIY semi, about time. I know. I've been slacking. I like being paid by piecework. Want to go? Stay out of it? I don't know what that means. My aura is blurry. My aura is very blurry. I learned it by watching you. SST is laughing. 1979 started working on drilling rigs. Was 14. Wow. Here we can talk about work ethic for a second, okay? So at the fair, there was this. There's Highland Dairy has this booth. You know, they have They got milk and ice cream and all that stuff. And we were in there because my wife wanted a milkshake. And there was a little girl in there. She couldn't have been more than 10 or 11 years old. And she was working with, I think there were several people there of all ages. Some were kind of old and some were like my age and some were a little bit younger. But you could tell she wanted to help, right? She was like, and no one was giving her big responsibilities. But, man, she was wanting to help as much as she possibly can. So their work ethic is there. It's just not being taught as well. And so there's evidence that it's there. You just got to capture it. And so, look, when you see little moments like that, it gives you hope, right? There is hope. So, Marty, no issue. Other issue, no fixed cost for everyone. Town, a truck and trailer. Further, everyone will only pay minimum. If you demand more, someone else will do it for minimum, right? I worked for Bilo in high school. When the truck hit the door, we had 1 hour to unload before the warehouse started charging the store. But if you deliver to a Bilo warehouse, there's no hurry for them, right? Carney. The Carney's they're kind of pushy, they're doing what they're doing, right? Scott says he was making $1,100 every 2 weeks. Nice. All right, let's go to this email here. All right, so as you can see, there's this gauge. Overall market it was almost to the full green here, but now it's starting to look at loose. Now, what I have noticed is that the reefer is starting to come up a little bit, but look at flatbed. Flatbed was always in the loose category. It's now going into the soft. Of course, van is definitely soft. So this needle is barely moved. I think the most extreme use I've seen is reefer and flatbed markets. Now, if you look at this rate per mile, it's trending upwards since April. DAT showing went from $1.99 to $2.07. I think part of that is volume fluctuations. And, we noticed a rise in rates in June. And then they came crashing back down in July. Green screens, big movers, Philadelphia to Atlanta, markets, Chicago to Denver has gone up. And I have noticed that loads going to Denver are starting to pay more than they have been. Although they're starting their anchor at 20% lower than what they have been. And then Miami to Lakeland, of course, has gone down. So Florida is definitely taking a dump. Shipping costs trending back up, as you can see. Here, let's look at outbound tender volume. Let's see. I didn't study these charts before I started. The below chart is the outbound tender volume. The takeaway with this chart is that volumes remain higher in 2024 than 23. So that's a good sign, right? Although it's being absorbed by the extra trucks that we do have on the road, the extra companies that overflooded the market back in 22. The below chart shows outbound tender reject index. The takeaway here is that capacity is still loose, but not as easy to come by as it was in 23 and 2019. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Below chart shows net changes in trucking authorities from 2010. The takeaway is that capacity was added during COVID, is still continuing to leave the market. There's your trucks going out of business right there. All right, there's your reefer hot market map for DAT. As you can see, Southwest Missouri, Northwest Arkansas are doing good. Northern half of Texas is better than Oklahoma and Amarillo, and then definitely south towards Mexico is not as good. Look at Maine light up red for reefer. Here's flatbed. Of course, Oregon, Northern California is red, which red is good on this map. And then even the southeast is quieted down. Now it's all about Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, Oklahoma, and Texas. Everything else is cold. There's a little hot spot here. There in West Virginia. And then here's Van Market. Van Market's kind of all over the place. You have hot spots, right? Like Southwest Missouri is good, but St. Louis area is not, unless you're on the Illinois side. So what that does, that softens the other markets. Louisiana's doing not bad, but you know what? They're not paying to come out of Louisiana. Ask me how I know. And then Dallas, same thing. You're getting a little bit easier to come out of Dallas, but I don't recommend making a career of it, going in and out there all the time. I know a driver that's struggling with that. And then Michigan's lit up a little bit, and then the northern half of Wisconsin and UP looks like it's doing okay. And of course, Southwest Missouri's doing all right. Let's see. The ongoing bleed off of excess capacity continues, according to recent data from FreightWaves, as the carrier net changes in trucking authorities is showing a net loss of 8,630 trucking authorities year to date, graph above. In addition, there has been a steady decline in the number of applications for new firms in transportation warehousing. That's good news if you're in the spot market, if you're surviving. Authorities have executed search warrants and recovered approximately 27 of the 36 loads that were stolen in a very complex and a coordinated theft targeting over 24 freight brokers in what is being called Ocean 11-style freight heist. I've never seen that movie. Is it good? Here they talk about Blue Thunder. Uber and Lyft drivers in California will continue to be protected from the state's AB5 law following a decision by the state Supreme Court. The California Trucking Association OIDA case is still ongoing. FMCSA has stated that it is too little data to assess double brokering fraud. However, it did state that it is still assessing the relationship between motor carrier safety and incidents of unlawful brokerage. In other words, they're looking into it a little bit. You know, so the people that have said, like, I think people that have said that they don't care, you would think that they'd be all over that. But that's government for you. Lithium-ion battery truck fire shut down I-15 near Baker, California, stranding thousands of travelers in scorching heat over the weekend. Brake Safety Week is August 25th through the 31st. So I know that Sterling wanted to know that. And there's a website for that. So is running away with Carnival still an option 2024? Yeah, but you gotta speak Spanish. Flatbed. My first job in 2005 paid $5.25. Then I got a full-time job as a welder for $11 an hour. I was a welder for 13 something an hour. That was like 30 years ago. Ready for this month to be over with? I agree with you, Cheap Free Holler. TC Box has who speaks Romanian. No pikey. So because of the throwaway society, that's about the only reason why we're living on a shoestring economy for that. Otherwise, it could be worse. I don't know. I'm not an economist. All I know is that I come out of Walmart with 3 less bags of groceries for the same for more money. Do I think that Amazon has messed up the trucking industry? No. I don't know what kind of impact they really have, to be honest with you. We don't run a whole lot of Amazon freight. The drivers that attempt it usually go back to just running the spot market. I know that Amazon loves having carriers that can't be signed on anywhere else or have trouble with other brokers, so they have to live off of them. I know that they've disrupted how business is done with the LTL companies. You know, when you look at UPS and FedEx, you know, and look, I'm gonna warn you guys right now, Walmart's looking to do the same thing. Walmart is looking to work with carriers directly instead of third party or brokers, because Jeff and I just went through the seminar for that. And you know what? They're not accepting any carriers less than 11 trucks. So, and you have to be invited. So they're trying to do something different than Amazon, but they're going to use the same model. And I wouldn't be surprised if they're using the same technology when it comes down to it. But they're going to have a load board that we'll be able to book loads off of directly, because they don't want to deal with a third party involved. It's at a point where we just need to tell our kids to figure this out. Us adults are just making things worse. Why would Amazon have hurt the trucking industry? If anything, it injected more freight into the market. That is true. And it's not really Amazon as much as our need to have, I just ordered this on Amazon or Walmart.com and I need it here tomorrow. So they're the ones that started the online shopping. And it definitely interrupted retailer's rate. I agree with that, SSD. I guess it's time for me to get moving. Catch Jerome in the step challenge. How many trucks are needed for Walmart? 11. They're looking for carriers right now. 11 to 40 is what the lowest lane is. Cool Trucking, what's up? I answered the question. 11 minimum, yeah. Walmart back haul or heavy. The truck is designed to pull and be 80,000 pounds legally. So how much are we paying for subscription to enjoy a service we don't get to keep versus our parents? 20 years ago, you could have visited in rabbit ears. Right. And that, look, that's what the cable companies figured out, right? They figured out that, well, like right now you can get a lot of free TV. Like if you buy an LG TV, guess what? Or Samsung TV, they have their own networks now. And there's, and pretty soon you got like 13 different subscriptions to watch your favorite shows, and you're actually out more money than what you were paying satellite and cable for. And they keep raising their prices. So I mean, it things are constantly changing. Technology has done that. I think Amazon's biggest attack was on the brick and mortar retailers. Absolutely. Walmart is definitely a good percentage of my delivery. Great share of my work is Kansas meat out and then work back to meat patch. Yeah, I mean, you can tell when they're, when you get on the load board and all the Walmart receivers are on the boards. Like, for example, Dollar General, right? I know when the water loads are all going to different Dollar Generals, right? Same thing with the charcoal that comes out of Springfield. Not Springfield, but like West Plains, Branson, Rolla, Bell. And so all those, you start seeing them, they're going to Indianola, or they're going to Ardmore, or they're going to Fulton, or, Zanesville. And it's all at once, right? It's like all at once. Like, okay, we need all the charcoal for all the Dollar Generals right now. And when you can ride those waves, it's nice. But then eventually they stop. Charcoal is seasonal. Water is somewhat seasonal. You're going to ship more of it in the summer than you do in the wintertime. In the wintertime, you got to worry about freeze protect. I agree. Walmart was called the town killer in the 1980s. Lots of Landstar trucks are dedicated to Walmart. A couple of years was paying darn good. I mean, that's been going on a long time. If you could get on the Lance, if you can get on the, I know Sanger, Texas had. They utilize the Landstar trucks, and who's the other one? There's another one in Texas. And they only wanted the good Landstar drivers. So you had to dedicate to it. I mean, overall subscriptions, Netflix, Disney Plus, sports channels, music, cell phone. Yeah, a lot of distractions, right? And I agree with you, SSD. Just like Guitar Center has destroyed a lot of small mom and pop music stores. Chief Free Holler, I'm going to win this step challenge. James G, what's up? Hope you're doing all right. United States population really needs to be doubled. The elites don't want that. Jerome, I hope you do. I'm at home putting a new bumper on my truck, so hope you're not driving. All right, so let's take a look at hot market maps real quick. On both 1, 2, 3, and we'll look at load ratios on DAT. 48065 if you want to try the 1, 2, 3 low board for yourself. Let's see. Let me do this here. Put a banner up. Also, another selling point is contentcreatorcoffee.com if you want to try my coffee. I believe. Oh, I don't have a banner for that one yet. I'll be. All right. Let's do van. Pretty very similar to what DAT was showing on that report that CDN sent me. Let's take a look at loads coming out of Missouri since we've been talking so good about it. Looks like Arizona went green. Last week I went yellow, but it's back to going green. They ain't paying to go out there. Let's see. Let's do the highest rate out of Missouri today. Okay. I don't know why it's doing that. Hold on. Oh. What was that? Jeez. That was dumb. Sorry. I don't know why I was doing that. Kansas City to Sumner, Washington. They are now paying over $2 to go out to Washington. That's interesting. Let me take a look at this because they've been pushing $1.50, $1.60 to go out there. 11,000 pounds. If you're going to go out there, that's the way to do it. 68% above my cost per day, so not bad, but coming out, it's going to be a challenge. Let's take a look. 23 loads going from Washington anywhere. Let's take a look at them. What's their highest rate? $1.70 to go to Michigan? It's actually not bad. The rest of these are $1.42, $1.24. Here's another one going $1.24 to Michigan. Now, normally I don't trash brokers, but there's a particular broker that I might be circling my cursor around. They have zero interest in moving loads, at least with the one agent I've been talking to. It's one of those brokers that I look at and like, I'm not even bothering calling. I don't care how desperate I am because I know that they ain't going to deal with me. So now let's look at the inbound. What's the highest paying load going into Missouri? $1.92 coming out of California. $1.84 out of Phoenix, which is actually better than what it was last year. $2.58 to come out of Corpus Christi, Texas. That's interesting. Let's take a look at that one. LVC says, did I wake up early? Doesn't feel like 4 a.m. Yes, man, you're late. You slept through it. We've been doing the carnivore thing again, LVC. It's on the OG channel. Hope you're doing well, my friend. I haven't seen you in a while. Of course, I know my channel's not your cup of tea either. Let's see. The OG one might be, but no one's been watching that. So 98% above my cost per mile. Let's see. Multiple stops listed. Nope. Panels, 29 pallets. Picks up today, 10:30 a.m. So this is probably already gone. No, 5 minutes. So someone probably dropped off of this 5-minute old posting. Laredo to Warrensburg for a decent rate. St. Louis, those are partials. $1.44 to come out of Pennsylvania, go to Kansas City. See the highest rate per mile. It's going to be all like short haul stuff. Has anyone took the time to think about a rate you would need if approached by a company like Walmart that offer you to run your truck as much as legal? RPM plus stop play plus fuel surcharge. Most people, chief freight hauler, what I'm finding is most people don't know how to quote anything. Right? I have drivers call me all the time, hey, how do I quote this direct freight? I said, well, know what you need, know what the market value is, and you got to beat all of it. So if you need $2 a mile and they're trying to save 40% that they might pay the broker, then you got to be 40% lower than the broker. And then you got to have the equipment and the knowledge and the know-how to do it. You know, quoting your own direct freight is not easy. Here's a fun fact. Bill Gates owns Waste Management. That does not surprise me. He owns a lot of stuff. CDM, what is your minimum DPA? Daily physical activity. 25 push-ups on the floor or wall, 30 squats or sits from chair, 1 mile brisk walk, or 15, 25-minute bike ride. Create a minimum, just do it. Get out. I did 9,200 steps yesterday, CDN. Ideally, minimum 25 push-up plus 30 body weight squats plus 1 mile. Oh, keeps doing that. Stop it. 15 2-minute bike ride DPA. All right, so the highest pay rate per mile is Portage, Indiana, St. Louis. There's a few of those. Wabash, New Mexico, Missouri. So Indiana and Missouri is obviously paying $3 a mile with this particular broker. They've got a bunch of these. Getting to Wabash, Indiana is not a problem. Let me see if this is a power only. Ingots. Nope, it's ingots. Illinois and Missouri is a good lane, looks like. Now, here's the thing. I've had drivers say, well, I need $700 a day. So this Firth, Nebraska to Chillicothe won't work. This Illinois to St. Charles won't work. This Monticello to Webb City would work. Some of these others. Looks like the sweet spot's around 500 to 600 miles for $1,100 to $1,300. It looks like Michigan's supplying a little bit of that. Keller looks like they've got some decent prices on this stuff. So then there's West Chicago to Springfield, 245 miles. Let's take a look at that one. My best day was 26,000 steps walking the strip of Vegas last month. Nice. Truckers Education Network. Nice map. Thank you. I worked hard on it. This one picks up Thursday morning, delivers Friday in Springfield, 6 a.m. This would be a good load because landing in Springfield is going to get you at a good place for the weekend. 8,900 pounds. This is a good load. I might actually call on this one. As long as it's not a drop trailer or something stupid like that, which I'm finding a lot of that too. There was one load that was posted on DAT that was a 30-day drop for the trailer. Paying, I don't know, about $500 more than what the 30-day was on that. Or 15-day. I have the 15-day now, which I'll tell you what, guys. I will put the market rates tools up against the 15-day all the time, and it's been pretty on it. Like here's Zebulon, North Carolina, Fairfield, Illinois. This gives me a good indication. Of course, they're using grease screens on this side over here, so. But, all right, guys, I've been at this for an hour. There's a few things I need to wrap up. So, oh, by the way, let me do this here real quick. I'm trying to get more traffic to my other channel that doesn't talk about trucking all the time. So I'm going to put the link up here. I want you guys to check it out. Put a link up. Really? All right. Man, you think I'd be more prepared with this? There we go. Oh, there's a link to my OG channel. We should have stayed right on regulation with Carter because every load is $1 or $2 less per mile. Not even sure what you're talking about. Talk about Jimmy Carter? Join the replay game. My name is Nobody. Thank you. And of course, there's a link. So, also, like trucking, we're looking to grow a little bit, as Jeff pointed out in his video this morning. And tell them I sent you. If you decide you want to check us out, you know, our website's in the banner there below, the www.liketrucking.com. And then also all the ways you can support. Thank you for the super chats and memberships. I appreciate every single one. And then contentcreator.com, contentcreatorcoffee.com. Search Snorelord and you'll have my two blends. You know, I got to make a buck too. So, anyways, thanks for watching. Strength for today, hope for tomorrow. And, yeah. Aggression turns the screws. And you got to be smart, man. If the world's not being smart, you got to be smarter than the world. There you go. Peace.